Welcome back. Have you ever had a broken tooth and wondered, how did this happen? In today's Art of Dentistry, Dr. Robin Rutherford is here to explain why teeth break and what your options are if you have a broken tooth. Dr. Rutherford, thank you so much for being with us.
Always enjoy it.
So, why do teeth break?
Okay, I'll show you some pictures that every dentist sees every day, okay? If you have a cavity that is small to medium size, and therefore then a filling that is small to medium size, well then that tooth is probably strong because there's still plenty of tooth around the filling to hold it in. But this first picture shows a pretty good sized tooth-colored filling, and if you look at it, the filling takes up probably 50% of the tooth or so, and especially on the bottom left section, there's actually a very thin little rim of actual tooth that's left. And I can even see a little crack, it looks like, right where that tooth butts up against the tooth next door.
Right.
When you have thin equals not strong, then things break, and especially when you see cracks.
Okay.
And so here's a similar tooth, and it is broken already, okay? Here's exactly what happens. And you see it's not even the filling that breaks most of the time. Most of the time it's that thin little shell of enamel that breaks off.
Do people notice when something like this happens? Is it painful?
It can be, but normally it doesn't really hurt, but usually you know that you broke a tooth. You can feel the little sharp edge, and yet since it doesn't hurt, people will ignore it.
Wow.
And let it rot or let it break some more or something like that.
But you can create more problems then.
Yeah. So here's a similar thing. Now this is a traditional silver style metal filling as opposed to the tooth colored fillings. But again, here's what happens later when it breaks off. Same sort of thing.
Wow.
Now my point in all this is that when something breaks, it does not need an even bigger filling.
Okay.
Anytime that you hear somebody say, I've had this same tooth filled 3 times and it just keeps falling out, and they think, oh, that's a bad dentist. No, it probably is too big of a filling.
Right.
And it's not even the filling falling out, it's something that broke and falls out or breaks off or something. So my point on this is that it should be a crown.
Okay.
It probably never should have been that big of a filling in the first place, but especially since it has broken even more now, it needs a crown.
Okay.
See, here's another one, the same sort of thing. See, I can just show you thousands, and every dentist sees this all the time. When you look at this filling, the filling is kind of an old filling, I think, because that's not very tooth colored. It used to be more white, I'm sure, the day it was put in.
Right.
But see how it's relatively thin all around that filling? And here's a big section that broke off. And here's my example of a tooth that hasn't broken yet, but look at the cracks.
So it's about to.
Yes, everything between crack A and crack B is about to come off.
Okay.
And I don't know when. It's either tomorrow or it's 3 months from now or it's 2 years from now. But something, when I see like this, I will tell a patient we should do a crown on that tooth.
Okay.
Because when you see the bus coming at you, you step out of the way before it hits you instead of just hoping it doesn't hit you really bad.
Right.
And so when I can anticipate, I can see what's happening because I can see the future on this one with my psychic powers. And I just know what's going to happen.
Okay.
And so you don't want to let a tooth break if you can help it.
Right.
Because sometimes it can break in an easy way. I can fix it, no problem, needs a crown. And other ways it can split, like we showed you on a patient last week.
Right. Okay. And getting a crown, how long is that process?
Easy. Doing a crown takes 2 visits.
Okay.
1 visit, you pretty much do all the work, and then we make what we call an impression so that they can make a model of that tooth.
Okay.
And we send that off to the lab. And then when you walk out of there, you have a temporary crown on that tooth that we just make. And it takes about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to get the crown made and back to us. So the second visit, you just come in and we just take off the temporary and put on the real crown. So easy.
Easy.
And again, can be with sedation if you like doing it that way.
And that's the best way if you're nervous to go with sedation.
Yeah. Nowadays with sedation, even if it's just having your teeth cleaned or anything, scary or not, if it's scary to you, it's scary. So that's a good way to do things.
All right. Well, Dr. Rutherford, thanks for being with us.
Thanks.
It's the art of dentistry. Dr.